This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
On December 23rd, SmackDown is in Texas, and you cut a promo telling the people in Texas that they're known for their intensity and their integrity, but maybe not so much their intelligence. But if they work hard, they could be. I love this use of the three eyes and healing on the crowd here. It's your first TV match against Edge here. You win after Blackman hits Edge with a kendo stick. But basically the story here is between the next event and sometime after it, you're undefeated. No one has yet pinned you or made you submit. Did you know this was the plan at this point, or are you just figuring it out when everybody else is?
No, I think the writers planned for me to have an undefeated streak, especially working up to the Royal Rumble 2000 pay-per-view. So they wanted to continue to have me go on an undefeated streak until I got to Madison Square Garden 2000 Royal Rumble, where I wrestled Tazz. That was a different story. That's something that I don't know if you wanted to talk about this right now, Conrad. Well, Tazz, we decided that Tazz would go over. It was his debut. Tazz was a big name in wrestling, so he was one of those guys that hit main event level, like as far as any wrestling company. Tazz was really popular. He had a great run in ECW, and everybody knew who he was. So, it was me giving him a rub, an elevation win, and at the same time, it's me getting a rub from somebody that was a main eventer in a wrestling company that was very successful. So, the whole story was Tazz would make me choke out. He would choke me out, but it was an illegal choke, so I was still undefeated. That's what I said in my own mind after the match. And, when Tazz made me choke out, I said, this is a legal chokehold, so I'm still undefeated. I still haven't been beaten.
I love it. And the story,
it was good heat.
Let's talk about a moment in the match that's become fairly controversial. Again, we're talking about Tazz's debut at the Royal Rumble 2000, January 23rd, Madison Square Garden. A huge show, and Tazz is the mystery opponent for you. And there's supposedly a moment that was pretty scary. Meltzer would even write, Angle took a great backdrop over the top rope, and one time landed almost on his head from a suplex. I only mention this because supposedly the rumor and innuendo is a lot of the folks in the office were pretty concerned about that suplex and wanted to have a sit down with Tazz, allegedly, the next day at TV about that suplex. I think Tazz is on record as saying he didn't want guys to sort of cooperate or jump, sort of like you mentioned a moment ago with Mark Henry and doing the Northern Lights. He wanted to actually muscle you up himself, and he felt like maybe you jumped and he didn't communicate that maybe, and it was a little bit scary, but no one was hurt. No one was injured in the match, but supposedly a lot of people felt like, hey, this guy Tazz might be dangerous from an office standpoint. And Tazz took great issue with that. It's a sore spot with him to this day. What do you remember about that suplex? And did you consider Tazz dangerous on the other side of the match?
Tazz was not dangerous. That was my idea. I told Tazz to give me a German suplex and throw me really high in the air, and I would flip over to my stomach. I wanted to do a moonsault German suplex where I landed on my stomach. I thought it looked really vicious and brutal. So that was all my call. And I'm not sure why Tazz didn't tell the office that I'm the one that chose the move. Tazz was never dangerous with his suplexes. He was relatively safe. I've never had a problem with him.
I'm glad you cleared that up, because that's certainly been the rumor and innuendo, and I know that Tazz has taken great issue with it. So there it is, folks, straight from Kurt's mouth. Tazz was not dangerous, and Kurt called the spot. So there it is.
It's true.
It's damn true. On the old 24/7 on-demand channel, they used to have a Legends of Wrestling roundtable show, and they talked a lot about that match in particular and the reputation of legitimate tough guys. And Mick Foley says that you approached him backstage about whether or not Tazz might actually try to shoot on you during the match to make a name for himself. Now, I don't know how much of that is true, how much of that is Mick just trying to be entertaining, and how much of that was something you legitimately thought about because you did have a very brief interaction with him in ECW before, right?
Yeah, I wasn't concerned about Tazz shooting on me. I wasn't concerned about anybody shooting on me. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what Mick was talking about. I think he was trying to be entertaining and juice up the promo, the interview a little bit.
Sure.
But yeah, the thing is, being an Olympic gold medalist and being a shooter, I never was taken advantage of in the WWE. Nobody tried to take advantage of me because of my inexperience. Because probably they knew that if I ended up shooting, I was gonna dominate. So it wasn't an issue at all.
Do you think Vince? It's been said over the years that Vince likes to test guys to see if they have a good attitude, where their head is at, things like that. Do you think that this was their way of sort of testing you a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. They don't do it much now. I mean, when you're an upcoming talent, they protect the hell out of you right now these days. The Attitude Era, it seemed like they would, push you for a while, then pull you down, then push you for a while, pull you down. So, I was getting used to it, and at certain times you get unsure of yourself because you're not quite sure why they're having you do 4 jobs in a row, 4 different pay-per-views. And, the thing is, I got rewarded in the end because I ended up winning the world title that year.
Let's talk about, I guess the next natural thing is to put you in there with another former Olympian, Mr. Mark Henry. That happens on November 22nd, 1999 on Monday Night Raw. And you do a promo where you say, there's some of us who didn't quite pull through for the good old USA. I won't mention any names. And you accuse Mark of staying out all night at a strip club, and the crowd pops for that. They think that's cool. And that of course pisses you off. And you remind everyone Mark placed 18th. I mean, you're really laying it in here. How much of this was fun to do? And how much of this do you think was the office just needling Mark at the time?
I don't know how much of it was the office needling Mark, but I'm sure they were. But it was funny. Mark, the only reason he placed 18th in the Olympics, he got hurt and he lifted just enough so the team could place.
Yes.
So he didn't win a medal, even though he was expected to. I think he was ranked 3rd in the world at the time. But, he didn't pan out because he got injured. So, I didn't mention that in my promo.
Of course not.
Of course I wouldn't. I'm Kurt Angle, the only celebrated real athlete in WWE history.
I know a lot of people aren't going to go back and watch that match, but if you want to see an impressive feat of strength, go back and check out Kurt wins with a Northern Lights suplex that's pretty unbelievable. Was there any hesitation that you could pull that off on a guy Mark's size, or were you pretty confident about that?
Of course, I was nervous as hell, but Mark jumped for me really well. He's a great athlete. He's so explosive, and when you need to lift him, he gets very light for you, so it's not a problem.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.